Buenos dias, mi hentai. It's your boy Big Body, and I got a question for you. To my white man them, to my white brethrens them, I got, oh Jesus Christ, you see things dropping and all, how passionate I am about this topic. But listen, we gotta talk. We gotta talk, man. We gotta talk. I just need to ask, man. Listen, why y'all got black on your brain more than head and shoulders? We really about to get into that today, cause something happened recently, and I need to talk about that. I really need to talk about that. I need to call HR. But first, let's address the elephant in the room, which is this elephant that I drag in every day. Lord Jesus Christ, I know the Lord don't give you nothing more than you can handle, but my God, I mean, you think I can handle all this ass? Today we doing legs, doing squats, we doing lunges, and we doing a topic that is near and dear to my waist. But it's not going to be exactly what you think it is about, because I want to explore something that is not often talked about in the British broadcasting company discourse. This one is going to be a lot more intimate, a lot more vulnerable. But yeah, it's a quick big body tip for y'all doing legs. Anytime when you're doing squats like this, the bar placement is extremely important. It determines where the inertia will be. Whichever one feels right for you, just do that. And most importantly, my biggest tip for legs, I learned this during D1 athletics as a wrestler. A narrow heel placement is one of the biggest game changers that I could have done for getting stronger deadlifts, stronger squats, stronger anything that I need to use my hips for. I kid you not, I probably increased my weight by about 25% every time when I incorporated this. Almost forget, the scent of the day, the fragrance of the day is Ultra Zest by, who this is now? Terry Mugler. Citrus dominates this, but it's not just any type of citrus. It's a creamy citrus. It has like a richness to it that I would rather recommend for colder, warmer days. So this isn't a Dior Sauvage. When you get very warm and you wear this, it's kind of like a gourmand. Like it's kind of edible. So the richness and the sweetness of it might choke people out. So if you're going to wear this and you're going to wear this when it's really hot, then go very light. But if it's a little bit cooler out, like maybe like 70 degrees, you know, maybe high 70s, this is a really nice fragrance to wear. Again, wear it sparingly, and trust me, a little bit goes a long way with this one. It is just absolutely delightful. I want to do something different when it comes to penile envy, because we normally hear it from the perspective of white dudes anytime when you do hear about it, which is rare. And that is because there is a serious discrepancy when it comes to cock. This discourse is one of the most dishonest discourses out there. I kid you not, nobody will report their cock size, their cock dimensions, the girth, the length. Nobody will report correct findings when it comes to it. Not even the partners of the people who are holding the cock itself. Because people have a very skewed understanding of what exactly the size of their cock is. So unfortunately, I can't give too much statistical data about this type of topic simply because of the fact that it's extremely convoluted. There's a lot of spurious variables, this is the research scientist inside me, that are obfuscating the truth. So the best that I can do is give you my truth. Now my truth is, I've never had any complaints. Make of that what you will, but I could tell you growing up, I was very insecure about size. I was insecure about how it looked. I will volunteer the information that you did not ask for. I am circumcised. And that was one of the things that provided some spots of contention when it came to me and other black folks, especially early on. So growing up, the cocks that you see are typically inborn. And these are not representative of actual cocks all the time. One of the only times that you would actually see another cock is when you are in the locker room, when you're changing and whatnot. And at that time, pretty much everything for the most part is the same, because you're young, especially this is before puberty, so like we're kind of before the fall of man, where we haven't ate the apple yet. So the only thing that I saw was the fact that some people's cock have a sleeve on it, and mine don't. So growing up, I had a lot of anxiety and insecurity going to the bathroom simply because I didn't have a sleeve. I was trying to figure out, I didn't know what the sleeve meant. I thought that something was wrong with mine. But then I got a little older and a little taller and a little wiser, and then I understood exactly the reason why I don't have a sleeve. And that is because I was circumcised. And I'm not going to get into the Puritan practices that, thank you, Kellogg, we now have, where some people are circumcised, some people are not. There was a whole discussion about it being cleaner for you to be circumcised. So there was this air of superiority for some people with circumcised cocks. It apparently is not the case. In fact, a lot of the time, I actually fell for the idea that you don't have to clean as much or as thoroughly because you don't have the sleeve, so you don't have to pull it back and do all that other stuff. You do. I'm thankful that I haven't had any diseases brought on by uncleanliness or partners or anything like that. But growing up, I did think that I was privileged. I thought that I had what was a desirable cock because of the fact that I was circumcised. And that's some of the penile politics that you get into before you know better. But quite often, there is this idea of phallic supremacy associated with black boys and black men. And I specify, unfortunately, black boys because this starts very early for us. Now, it's a little different, the fact that I grew up in a black nation, a predominantly black nation. There are some other complications when it comes to you growing up around white people and white boys, white women and whatnot, seeing you as a black boy grow and blossom through puberty. That is a different and extremely complex dance that you have to play. That being said, you do have like a lot of language around you from adults that begin to adultify you as a black boy. This is something that's not very much talked about because a lot of black boys are told that this is a sign of desirability and also a rites of passage to be seen as strong, as mighty, as puissant, as phallic supremacist. We're also told not to see this as a misstep over one's boundaries, but instead a welcomed advance from people, especially women. And your identity with your member as a black boy will provide you a foundation moving forward. And that's where we get into today's topic. A lot of you know that I did my undergrad, my master's and whatnot in Iowa. It was very white indeed. And that was probably one of the first places that I've encountered black penile envy, right? On behalf of white men, young white men. White men, listen here. I've been approached by white men about my cock. Straight white men now. Self-proclaimed straight white men. Been approached by y'all far more than any woman has ever. Okay? So let's get that straight. Nobody is more interested in black cock than white men. Point blank. Let's get that out of the way. And then, taking it a step further, nobody is interested in cock more than men in general. Straight, gay, everywhere in between, there's no woman out there that is more concerned about what you have between your legs than men. All right, we got that out of the way. I remember the first time that I found this out firsthand. Instead of using the sanctioned athletic gyms that athletes have access to, I wanted to be around people. I wanted to be around my college colleagues, right? So I went to the general gym, the student gym, just so I could do legs, right? I don't like to work out in totally empty gyms. I also don't like to work out in crowded gyms. There's a little balance that I like, and this had it. There was gals, there was a couple dudes that was lifting, so also I like that adversarial element because I'm a competitive person. But there was this one guy, this one white guy, that I could see was miring, which is fine. I love that. I think that the gym is one of the only places that men can be positively reinforced and reinforce each other and embrace each other and give each other love and compliments and adoration and affectations and affirming. You don't really get that much elsewhere, especially for men. But this guy was different. This guy found a way to proximity flirt with me, it felt like. Sometimes you have gals that don't use words, they like to use space. They like to occupy your space, they like to put you in eyes view of them so that you can see them, stuff like that. And men, we are sometimes rather oblivious to things like this. Sometimes we like to play oblivious to things like this because of the fact that the way that society works and how dating works and how courting works, we have to pick the flowers. They can't pick themselves. I'm not a big advocate for this all the time, but that puts us in a power position all the time, you know? Because if I don't talk to you, then nothing gonna happen unless you are going to break that social contract that has been established that says that you have to be talked to and, you know, you can't talk to me. If you break that, then actually a lot of success with that, by the way. Men are very easy on average. We are very easy. The price of peen is just so low. So honestly, to the women and feminisms that's watching, if you walk up to a man, I ain't gonna lie, unfortunately 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, yeah, like that happens so rarely to us that yeah, you might get some success. Honest to God. He was coming closer and closer to me. He ended up using the bench right next to me. And there was a whole row of benches, you know. His whole gym had a whole row of benches. And this boy wanted to get right next to me. I talking. You ever see like when you inside the bathroom and all of the urinals open, but this one guy won't go right next to you and be? This was the gym equivalent of that. Came right next to me, asked me if I could spot him. Right? I was like, okay. I didn't know what you were doing though. But I was like, all right, fine. He was doing bench. So if you know, you know. When you spot another man with bench, you, the person that is being spot, is going to have cock in your face. You are consenting to cock in your face if you are asking to be spot. We know this. We're aware of this. You have to be comfortable with this or don't ask for spots. Use the little rails. So if the thing drop on you, it could drop on the rails and it ain't gonna drop on your sternum and then you could look like them fellas them that is be on the fail blogs. Alright? So man consented to me dangling my carrot over him like a horse. Alright. I actually tried to lean forward a little bit and like pull back a little bit because, you know, I know how I set up. I just want to be courteous. I don't know this man from Adam. I don't want to put cock inside this man's face. That ain't necessarily too cash money of me, is it? He asked me come closer to the bar. Is it make him feel safer? Just like, raw. This guy looks like he's pretty fit. He only pushing about 95 pounds altogether. It's 225s on each side, 225 plates, and the bar is 45. And that's 95, right? Is it 95? Yeah, it's 95. I kid you not. This dude needed a whole 2-3 minutes warming up, looking for a song, or like warming up to the song. And in those 2 to 3 minutes, he just wanted me to stand there over him while he looks up periodically while he looking for a song, right? Now, what made me a little uncomfortable, I've never told this story public before, so this is kind of weird, but what made me a little uncomfortable is that I could notice, looking forward, man's on the bench, he's lying back, wearing some basketball shorts, right? I look, I see this nigga pitching a tent. I say, okay, anyway, I'm making a mental note of that. I'm just like, you know, maybe dude had some caffeine, you know, maybe dude had some pre-workout before that. You know, he is listening to some music. I don't know what he's listening to. You know, maybe he was getting a little excited, you know, getting ready to. It's not unheard of that you would pop a stiffy in the gym. I don't do that personally. I be so concentrated on the workout that, the cock limp, the cock on gummy. So when he finally was ready to lift these weights, to do this bench press, I kid you not, this man did a total of 3 reps. What you mean you only gonna do 3 reps? Anyway, so, I thought nothing of it. I just labeled this man to be a clown. I said, okay, Pennywise, you's a clown. You come to waste my time. After I finish my workout, I go downstairs. I ready to go to class. I got a class in about 30 minutes, right? So I about to get on the bus type thing, you know what I mean? All I see, your boy Paul come scurrying down. This dude looked like he almost tripped trying to run down these stairs. 3 flights of stairs, My boy Paul come down and he said, hey man, I appreciate you helping me out with, the bench press. Mitochondria, what's your name? I say, yeah, that's Peter. Yeah, that's my name. My boy come, he say, hey Peter, I like your vibe. I like your accent. Seem like a really cool dude. What you doing later on tonight? I'm heading on to the bars and I'd love to have you in there and give you an hour in welcoming. I say, okay. I'm only 17. I can't get in the bars. My boy turned red. He say, golly, you a strong, strapping young man. The fact that you are 17 and you already built like that, they must do it real good where you from. It's like, okay. Anyway, appreciate it, Paul. This isn't an uncomfortable conversation and discourse at all. So I'm leaving, my body language is saying flee, flee. And Paul could say, well, what dorm are you at? Because I could come over and hang out. My girlfriend over there, we definitely would love to show you a good time. I look at this dog. I look at this gal, right? His gal sitting like a Mormon church girl, just all cuddled up, right? And I say, yeah, no, it's a very tight dorm, I got roommates and things like that, so, I don't know if that's necessarily courteous to my roommates and things like that, you know what I mean? But I appreciate the offer, Paul. I appreciate you. Let me, I got a class, I got a lecture. It's very important. And I telling you right now, all this time when we was talking, this man didn't look in my eyes once. This man's gaze was cock level the whole time. That was the first experience I had with the penile othering from white men. There's a perceived masculinity that white men have of black men that is bolstered and created by the media, by, of course, if we want to go back, slavery, colonialism, the big black brute that used to deal with the fields and all this other stuff. Or if you really want to get very graphic about it, breeding and breeding camps. Yes, they used to make whole breeding farms for black bulls to breed black women, to produce more slaves, to cater to the entirety of the crops and livestock and all of the land that the Americas had. We often hear about white men fetishizing us or being envious of the way that our cock set up. But we never look at the way that this myth has impacted black men that don't live up to it. The rise of the SBC. And no, I'm not talking about South Beach, California. You have a lot of black dudes out there that are sexually anxious simply because the bar is so much higher for us. And in deifying our doggy, in deifying our dicks, and claiming that our dicks are superior in all these other ways, you have made the scrotum pole for black men so much higher, which has led to a unique situation where if we don't meet those standards, we get an extra level of punishment and social sanctions. Because this is one of the only things of value that black men sometimes have to offer in the marketplace of romance or just in the marketplace of society in general. We're already denied a lot of access to resources and wealth. We're denied and priced out of a lot of different educational venues and ventures. There's just so many different ways that black masculinity is limited. So when you have now a situation where this is a place where we could shine, athleticism or music or of course sex, and you don't have sex, what is your worth? A lot of people only see the worth of black men at cock level, at what's in their pants. And that creates a conscience in the black man, in their mind, in their sexual identity, because they associated so much with this myth. And a lot of black men, unfortunately, do feed into it. There are a lot of guys that definitely subscribe to the whole racialized fetishization of themselves, and they think that white girls choosing them simply because of the myth of the BBC, that is an empowering position to be. Little do they know that there's nothing powerful about that position. You are not getting anybody back. You're not getting reparations by having sex with white women. You could have sex with white women outside of that. Just enjoy white women. They're women too. You don't have to necessarily think that it's a political thing to have sex with a white woman. So you have this unique position now where black men and boys are envious, not of another person, but of a myth. They have penile envy for what they think they're supposed to be, which goes even deeper than the white man looking at the black man thinking that, oh, he must have this and that. As a black man, you are thinking that you're supposed to have this and that. And most importantly, you don't have the flexibility or the redemption or the avenues for redemption that white dudes have, because they have far more of a spectrum allowed and grace allowed to fall anywhere in those penile ranges. They could be small, they could be big. In fact, they're often estimated to be bigger simply because there's not this prerequisite of them being dragging on the floor. So this myth has had to cause us to be extremely adept, not only, of course, in our member size, but also they're expecting us to be sport grinding. They want us to do all kind of acrobatics, calisthenics, throw you up, throw you down, all of these different things, a million different positions, and to have like this animalistic energy when it comes to sex. And I kid you not, there's no other race that has to deal with that. There's no other race that has to deal with the myth being a bar for them to high pole jump over, which leads to a lot of anxiety for black men trying to enjoy sex. In fact, quite often, we don't get to enjoy sex simply because we're so invested in performing, in living up to that standard, that we don't get ours. There's been plenty of times where I was more concerned about making sure that she get hers than I was about we getting ours, or this being an exercise of intimacy. Because yet again, a lot of people misunderstand that sometimes for a lot of people, sex is about power. It's not about love or forging connection. It's about doing to someone, not being done to. Which brings me to this question that I want to leave you with. Is your sex free? Like, are you truly liberated in your sex? Are you at a place where you are free to be vulnerable in your intercourse with the people that you're having intercourse with? Or are you upholding or rigidly fixed to a particular perception of you or what you're supposed to be? And how does that work for you? Have you ever truly had sex, like intercourse, that was healing, that was spiritual? Do you want to? Are you even concerned with it? Especially for the man them out here, do you think that like you're okay with never having that experience? And then why? Yeah.